I did not want to write another book. I told Robin I'd written 9 books, and I said, I'm done. My last book will be an autobiography when I'm sitting out in the backyard or playing golf every day. But I wrote this book, We've Got Issues, How You Can Stand Strong for America's Soul and Sanity, because I looked around at what was going on and said, somebody's got to tell the truth. Somebody's got to call this for what it is. And I one of the big things I talk about is what happened to our society because of social media platforms and the internet. And, think about it. We had the Industrial Revolution, right? And until that happened, we were a very agricultural-driven society, right? Everybody worked on the farm. And so family units were really tight because everybody had to work all day, every day. And so they'd come in at noon and have a meal, and they'd come back at dinner time and, have dinner. And everybody worked together on the farm. But then when things got mechanized with the Industrial Revolution, then people moved to the city. And we went from 95% agricultural to now it's about 1%. And that was a huge change in the human race. And there's not been that big a change until 2008 or 2009. And that was the advent of the smartphone. It was like big airplanes flew over the country and dropped smartphones on everybody. That's the biggest change in society since the Industrial Revolution. Think about it.
Yeah.
We went from walking around with our heads up like this to down. People check their phone an average of 352 times a day. Think about 352 times a day.
That's insane.
Now, that's adults and children alike. And look what happened to kids. When I turned 16, when I was 15 and 364 days, 23 hours, and 59 minutes, I was at the DMV waiting to get my driver's license, right? Now, kids turn 16, they don't even go get their driver's license. Yeah, I'll get it sometime.
Yep.
They start dating later. They start having sex later. They get their driver's license, everything later. Why? Because they're watching people live their lives on the internet instead of living their own lives. And in 08, 09, and 10, we saw the biggest spikes in depression, anxiety, suicide, and loneliness since they've been keeping records. That's when the cell phones came out. That's when smartphones came out. That's when the internet blew up. Because people started watching people live their lives instead of living their own life, and those lives they were watching were fiction. And they compared their life to that life and said, I suck.
Well, there's a lot of depression amongst women, more self-harm than ever, more suicidal ideology and suicide. It's like Jonathan Haidt's work, the Coddling of the American Mind. It shows like there's a real spike when social media becomes invented because you're comparing yourself, and it just there's no compare. You can't compare. It's not. Yeah. First of all, those people are either surgically altered or they're using filters. There's a lot of them. I mean, some of them are natural, but for the most part, you're getting these glamorous depictions of a life that's impossible for you to imagine. It's depressing.
Yeah, and so I've had influencers on the show that said, I post a video where I'm putting on all these clothes and saying I'm going to the NBA All-Star game, and should I wear this or should I wear that? They said as soon as that camera stops, I carefully take those clothes off because I don't own them. I have to take them back to the store. I'm not going to the NBA All-Star game. I'm going to sit on the couch in my sweats just like everybody else. You've seen it. There's that
private jet thing?
That private jet thing in Santa Monica. They rent that out by the 15 minutes.
Yeah, you go into a fake private jet and you take photos like you're, living the jet set lifestyle. You're just on a set somewhere.
It's in a warehouse. out there and they get in there and put on their beach clothes and then their ski clothes. They ain't going anywhere.
They ain't going anywhere.
But everybody compares themselves to that and go, I'm such a loser. My life sucks. And so they compare themselves and go, yeah, I'm no good. And so everybody started getting these kids started getting depressed. I mean, it went up. The
thing is, like, if you do it really well, if you become a fitness influencer or an online influencer and do it really well, you become super successful and you can actually make a really good living doing it. So what we're seeing with a lot of these people are just like really bad open micers.
Yeah.
Like they want to be Dave Chappelle,
Yeah.
but it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. If you want to be an influencer, they're just sort of LARPing.
Well, listen to this. Since 2010 and 2011, there was a 62% increase for older teens, 189% increase in depression for preteens, 70% increase in suicide for older teens, 151% increase for preteens. I mean, that's terrible.
Terrible.
And I think the biggest part of it is because they stop living their lives. They don't have friends. They don't get out and do activities. They're addicted to this two-dimensional screen.
Yeah. And what comes after that thing? Because that thing, no one would have ever believed that a little thing that you keep in your pocket would have you on it 6 hours a day.